Right now, somewhere on your body, tiny invisible muscles are waiting. They have been waiting your whole life. Most of the time you never notice them. But the second you get cold, or scared, or hear a piece of music so beautiful it makes your chest feel tight, those little muscles fire all at once and your skin turns into something that looks exactly like a plucked chicken. So here is the question that should genuinely bother you. Why? Why would your body do that? What is the point of goosebumps? The answer takes us back millions of years to a version of you that was a lot hairier. Let us start with the machinery. Your skin is packed with tiny hair follicles, and every single follicle has a small muscle attached to it called the arrector pili. That name comes from Latin, and it basically means hair raiser. When your brain sends a signal through your sympathetic nervous system, all those little arrector pili muscles contract at once. They yank each hair follicle upright, and because the follicle is anchored below the surface of the skin, pulling it up creates a tiny bump on top. Multiply that by the tens of thousands of follicles on your arms, legs, and neck, and you get the full goosebump effect. The whole thing happens in about 1 second. Your brain does not ask your permission. It just does it. Now here is where it gets genuinely interesting. That reflex made a lot more sense about 100 million years ago, give or take, when our mammal ancestors were covered in thick fur. When a cold wind hit a furry animal, those same arrector pili muscles fired, and the fur stood up away from the skin. That created a layer of trapped warm air between the fur and the body, the same way a puffy winter coat traps warmth inside its insulation. More air gap, more warmth, better survival. Scientists call this piloerection, and you can still watch it work perfectly in animals today. Watch a dog shake off cold water, and you will see its fur puff out immediately. That is the exact same reflex, working exactly as designed. But piloerection did something else for our ancestors that was just as important. When an animal was frightened or threatened, those muscles fired again, and the fur stood on end in a completely different way. This made the animal look bigger and more dangerous than it actually was. A threatened cat arches its back and its fur puffs up because its nervous system is flooding it with adrenaline, the same hormone that triggers the fight or flight response. The puffed fur is basically a threat display, a way of saying to a predator or a rival, "I am much bigger than I look, think twice." Wolves do it along the ridge of their backs. Porcupines do it with quills. Many mammals do some version of it, and the underlying mechanism is the same arrector pili muscles firing under adrenaline. So our ancient furry ancestors got the warmth benefit and the threat display benefit from one simple reflex. 2 survival advantages for the price of 1. That is actually elegant engineering. Then, slowly, over millions of years, humans lost most of their body hair. Researchers believe this happened as our ancestors moved into hotter environments in Africa and needed to cool down efficiently rather than stay warm. Hairless skin with lots of sweat glands turned out to be a better solution for running long distances in the heat, which was central to how early humans hunted. According to research published in journals like the American Journal of Physical Anthropology and discussed extensively in work by evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman at Harvard, the loss of body hair and the gain of better sweating were major adaptations for endurance. But our nervous systems did not get the update memo. The arrector pili muscles are still there, still attached to every follicle, still waiting for the signal. We kept the hardware after the software became mostly useless. This is what biologists call a vestigial trait, a body feature that used to serve a strong purpose in an ancestor and has since lost most or all of its function in the modern version of the species. Charles Darwin himself described goosebumps as a vestigial reflex in his 1872 book, the expression of the emotions in man and animals. He pointed out that the muscles causing goosebumps are a remnant from our primate relatives and serve no meaningful purpose in hairless humans. Darwin was right, and modern evolutionary biology has confirmed it repeatedly since then. But wait, if goosebumps do nothing useful for us anymore, why do we also get them from music, or from a moment of awe, or from watching something deeply moving? That part is genuinely fascinating and still being studied. Researchers including Panksepp, a neuroscientist who coined the term skin orgasm for music-induced chills, found that the same adrenaline and dopamine pathways that trigger the fight or flight response also activate during intense emotional experiences. Music that builds to a powerful moment, a scene in a movie that hits you right in the center of your chest, the feeling of standing somewhere enormous and beautiful like a canyon or an ocean at night. All of these can spike your emotional arousal system just enough to fire those old arrector pili muscles. Your brain treats peak emotion a little like it treats peak threat. The goosebumps show up either way. Some researchers, including a team at the University of North Carolina, whose work appeared in Psychological Science, found that people who score high on a trait called openness to experience get music-induced goosebumps more often. That suggests the emotional version of this reflex might actually tell us something real about how deeply a person connects to art and to the world. So here is the full picture. Every time you get goosebumps, you are feeling a 100-million-year-old signal, a ghost message from a furry ancestor who needed to stay warm and look scary. The cold still triggers it. Fear still triggers it. And sometimes, a piece of music or a moment of pure awe triggers it too. Because your emotional brain borrowed the same ancient alarm system and turned it into something almost like a feeling of wonder. Your body is old, much older than you, and sometimes, when the hair on your arm stands up for no modern reason, it is just history saying hello.